What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel. I got my man Jim in here today, man. Emmanuel in here today. We got some good topics to talk about, man. We're gonna talk about this NBA. Y'all want to start with the get the Super Bowl out the way? I was now. What y'all think about the Super Bowl? Was y'all surprised with like how it turned out?
Uh, I was,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm gonna tell you this: if anybody's old school like I am, that was an '80s ass whipping.
Yeah.
That's how the AFC used to get their asses whipped in the '80s.
Yep,
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
yep,
that's all it was.
yep.
And everybody like, oh my God, it's a terrible Super Bowl. I can't believe I've never seen no ones like that because you never watched the Super Bowl in the '80s.
Yeah.
Okay, the
Yeah.
AFC used to get their asses tore the fuck up in the
Yeah.
'80s in the Super Bowl, and
That
that's what that reminded me of.
yeah, this reminded me of the Bears versus the Patriots.
Yes.
Mhm.
Oh, yes,
Oh
yes,
yeah,
yes.
Yeah,
yeah. I remember that one. I remember that Super Bowl.
yeah. I
Yeah,
was
yeah.
I was a little surprised, but not like super surprised because I think a lot of people were saying it was going to be a close game, and I was kind of feeling like it was going to be a close game, and that's why I kind of gave the edge to the Chiefs. But there were
Yeah.
some people out there, not a lot, but there were some people out there that said it could be a one-sided game, and if it's a one-sided game, it's going to be the Eagles.
Hmm.
And that, so there were a few people out there kind of predicting that. I didn't think it was going to go that way, but man, out of the gate, that's exactly what it turned into.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
was it was a good old-fashioned butt whooping.
It
And,
was.
and you could tell the game plan because
Yeah.
KC game plan was to stop Saquon.
Yep.
We're
Hmm.
gonna stop Barkley, which
Yep.
put their D backs 1-on-1 with Philly wide receivers.
Hmm.
And I don't care who you are not sticking Philly wide receivers 1-on-1 without a good pass rush.
Yeah.
That's just not gonna happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
So they took Saquon away from him. Basically, they shut Saquon down, and then Jalen Hurts did his thing. He showed up. So
killed
that
him.
was,
Yep.
and so I thought that if they couldn't, they wouldn't be able to do both, not unless they was like the
Yeah.
steel curtain defense or
Yeah.
something like that, or the doomsday defense. They wouldn't have been able to do both. So yeah, that was. The guy almost made history. What was it? Patrick Mahomes came close to making history. He got him there, but they just didn't have enough. And that's why I said, like, they won so many close games, and I didn't see a blowout. I thought Philly was going to win, but I just thought their luck was for KC was going to run out because they won so many close games throughout the season. So I thought this was going to be the game that it caught up with them, but they got blown out.
Yeah. Luck had
Yeah.
nothing to do with it.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, Philly didn't blitz not one time.
yeah,
Their front four just their Georgia front four just killed them,
mm-hmm.
killed them.
Yeah.
So
And
they
now
had no answer for it.
they had Patrick Mahomes on the run with just four people rushing. So, and that's right there.
Yeah.
So you got four up front, and then you got it's hard to find somebody open.
Yeah.
Right, he can't.
you
It's
know,
nobody open.
you got spies. Then you can double team certain players.
And
And
then
then
I'm gonna
go
say, and
ahead.
then they were disciplined. They were disciplined with their rush. They stayed
Hmm.
in their lanes. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? If you was rushing and your job was containing, they were containing Patrick, forcing
Hmm.
him back to the inside, not letting him get out that outside rush. I mean that
Yeah.
outside presence, and they just had a great game plan.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. They
Well,
blown them
that 20 points by the Chiefs wasn't really indicative of what their offense did because that those most of those 20 points came in garbage time.
out. Right.
Right? They
Right.
only legitimately got 6 points.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. I was happy for Jalen Hurts though, because he got some revenge, number one, because they lost the first time they played them in the Super Bowl. Then number two, like when if he go down 0-2 in Super Bowls, that's a heavy burden on his back, he definitely got to get back again in order to redeem himself, at least get one. But he won and won in Super Bowl, so that's not bad.
But you know what it does for him? And I put this out there, and a lot of people criticize me for it. It puts him in the conversation with Lamar. It puts him in the conversation with Justin Burrows. Puts him in the conversation with Josh Allen. It puts him there where he should be. He's been in the league, 4 years? He's gone to 2 Super Bowls. Won one. Come on now. He's done something that none of those guys has done.
Is he ahead of them though? Josh Allen and Lamar though, shouldn't he be ahead of them with 2 Super Bowl appearances?
I would say yes.
Yeah,
but then there's a lot. Then there's a lot of people that look at it and be like, well, Lamar throws for 4,000 yards every year. Like, okay, but what is the end result of all that?
Exactly.
That's my whole point. The end result.
Right. Yeah. No matter how it look, long as you get them there, that's how
I
feel about it, Yeah. So I mean, and speaking of Jalen Hurts, I saw a video of Jalen Hurts. He squats 600 pounds. That's crazy.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That's why the tush push works so well with him.
Yeah.
Because once he's getting there, he's getting his legs moving forward. They're pushing his butt. You're not stopping that.
Yeah.
He's basically got the power of another lineman.
Right. That's what I was going to say. So he could move a 300-pound lineman out of the way by himself.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That's crazy. And so they asked Saquon Barkley like who could squat the most, and Saquon Barkley said it's not even close. Jalen Hurts can't even. I was like, so how much can Saquon squat? Man, 600 pounds. Now,
hey, because Saquon's a beast.
He is.
But you gotta remember though, he cuts on a dime, and to be able to jump backwards, that power right there, overdue.
Yeah, that is crazy.
I think I remember a interview that he did. It was the year that they went to the first Super Bowl with him, and he was talking about, if I remember this correctly, I think it was his dad that got him into powerlifting.
Oh, okay.
And that's why he at a young age, a teenager or whatever, he'd been doing a lot of that workouts, and that's how he developed such a strong core to be able to do that.
That is crazy, man. How much can you squat, man?
Jeez.
Now or then? I don't squat. I don't squat nothing now. But back in the day, my highest was like maybe 5'10", 5'15" at the most.
Yeah, I have now. I only have in my basement. I only have like 200. I can squat everything. I got 255 pounds. I can squat that, but I have never been like nothing like that, man.
But the bad part about squatting, especially at an older age, it tears your knees up.
Yeah,
it tears your knees up. Yeah. So squatting a heavy pound at an older age isn't one of those things that people should do, especially if you already have knee problems.
Yeah, because if you look at what's the guy named Ronnie Coleman, if you look at his knee, the shape he in, he walk with crutches, and he keep knee braces on 24 hours. He sleep in knee braces. That's crazy.
Over 100 surgeries. It shows that in time that bodybuilding stuff just doesn't work out right for you.
No, it don't. Yeah.
Especially if you do it the wrong way.
Yeah. Well, ain't no really right way to keep on lifting 800 pounds. And that's what, I think Ronnie Coleman was squatting like 800 pounds at one time.
Yeah.
Hey, that's a
that brings up a good a question. What is that? What does this do for Jalen's long-term ability in the NFL?
Yeah. Well, hopefully he can maintain without squatting all that weight though.
Yeah.
Because man said, it's unnecessary. Same for him and Saquon.
Yeah.
Saquon, he was doing 585 pounds like with ease. He just was, going up and down with 585. So, and that's just.
I mean, but just look at it this way: they got great trainers, great nutritionists and everything. Somebody just sooner or later down the line is going to be like, hey, you don't need to do this anymore. Let's concentrate on your arm. Let's concentrate on your throwing. It's an
Right.
unnatural way. When you throw a football, it's an unnatural movement for your arm. So let's
Yeah.
figure out how to protect that going forward. There's a lot of things when you're playing in the NFL. There's a lot of things you get that us as normal people won't get when it comes to athletic training and nutrition and stuff like that. So they'll
Right.
figure it out for you. And somebody would be like, yo, don't squat 600 pounds no more. Cut that out.
Yeah.
Jump some rope or something.
Yeah. Yeah. So I don't know. So Jim, you ain't think that you thought it was a boring Super Bowl. You ain't think it was good.
I mean, in the moment, I
Mm-hmm.
was looking for. I mean, I like close games, right?
Mm-hmm.
I still appreciate the show that the Eagles put on.
Mm-hmm.
And in hindsight, in the moment, I'm like, man, this is just gonna be a boring Super Bowl because
Yeah.
there's nothing interesting happening. But I mean, in hindsight, I mean, the Eagles put on a one-sided show. I mean,
Yeah.
I can appreciate, like Man said, the the defensive line of the Eagles going in there and just wrecking havoc without anything but those four dudes just doing what they do.
Yeah.
And the Chiefs coaching staff had nothing to kind of break up the Eagles offensive line, and that O line is just all world.
Yeah. 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 So who was MVP? I thought the MVP should have been that front four.
It should have been.
For the
It
Eagles.
was Jalen.
Jalen Hurts.
Yep.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So it was, to me, it was a good game. I like, because the game wasn't never in question, and so that's good for like Philly fans or Eagles fans. So they once they gain control of that game, it's all a show from there on out.
Well, I like what it did for as far as what everybody was talking about, the narrative of the whole Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was just talking about, hey, KC winning three in a row. If they can do this, Patrick Mahomes is that. And nobody really was talking about what Philly and people didn't mention that Philly had the number one defense
Mm-hmm.
going into the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But that wasn't mentioned because it was all about what Kansas City could accomplish if they win.
Yeah.
So I think when Philly decided to change the narrative of what everybody was talking about, that's what made it a really good game for me.
Yeah.
You know,
Right.
because I
So
don't. The only reason I voted for Philly is Saquon. That's the only reason I like Philly Saquon.
yeah. Well, I like Hurts and Saquon, but let me ask y'all this then. So now, what does that does for Patrick Mahomes? This loss that for his the GOAT conversation. Like, what does that? How does that affect the GOAT conversation?
Yeah, he should have never been in the GOAT conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Let him play his career out. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? When you do stuff and when you say that he's the GOAT at his young age and his young career, that's putting too much pressure on the man.
Mm-hmm.
Because let's say right now, at this point, he doesn't win nothing else. Okay. But he plays for another 10, maybe 15 years. But he
Mm-hmm.
wins nothing else. We put that narrative on him too early in his career. If he went three in a row, that's great. It still doesn't make him a GOAT because look at what you call him accomplished. Brady accomplished.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
know? Let's get this man, let this man play his career out and then talk about him being the GOAT towards the end of his career.
Well,
We
I
would
felt
never
like
call it We would never call LeBron James the GOAT in his first 5 years in his career.
yeah.
Never. You know what
I
I'm
felt
saying?
the same,
So
yeah. I felt the same way about calling him the GOAT. I just said, I think he off to an amazing start in his career, but I still thought that he had, some more to prove.
oh
But
yeah.
Yeah.
remember when
I mean,
Shaq? Well, go ahead, Jim.
no, I was just gonna say I didn't, and I said it before the Super Bowl. I don't really think the Chiefs' loss was going to tarnish anyone's um, perception of the team of Coach Reed.
Mm-hmm.
And the simple fact is they've been to 5 in 7 years with
Right.
Mahomes. So just that in and of itself is, and you still got a winning record in the
Mm-hmm.
Super Bowl. Yeah, it's if you're a Chiefs fan, it's you're sad that they lost, but taking a step back, it's like, no, dude's been there 5 times in 7 years.
Right, yeah.
His perception's going to be just fine.
Exactly. And let's
Yeah.
look at it this way. Brady had a chance to do something that no other team has ever done before, was to go undefeated through the whole season and take down the Miami Dolphins at 72. He didn't do that, and that didn't tarnish his career at all.
At all.
Right, yeah.
So just because you're able to do something that sets a standard in history doesn't make you the GOAT. You got to continue going.
Yeah.
So who's to say he doesn't get a chance to repeat 6 years from down from that? You know, it's just that we emphasize things that we want to emphasize to put the narrative on the game.
Yeah.
You know, nobody could have really talked about Andy Reid and how well he's been coaching the Kansas City Chiefs since he's been there. That couldn't have been the narrative of the Super Bowl. The narrative couldn't have been how good Philly's defense has been throughout the whole year. Couldn't be the narrative. So what you do as the media, let's make up another narrative. As he the GOAT. That was just real stupid to me, but you know, it was what it was.
Now, I always thought though, even before Andy Reid got to his first Super Bowl, I always thought he was a really good coach even from when he was at Philly. You know.
Yeah, Andy Reid is the master of putting together great teams. You know, when he was with Philly, Philly didn't win the big ones, but he put together some great names on these teams, man. Those Philly teams that he had on there had some great names on it. He goes to Kansas City, does the same thing, you know, and he's a good roster builder.
Yeah. So Andy Reid, until he won those Super Bowls, I thought him and like Marty Schottenheimer was kind of like the same, you know, on the same level. Would y'all agree with that, or y'all think that, you know? Because Marty Schottenheimer I don't think Marty Schottenheimer, did he make it to the Super Bowl?
No.
While he was coaching? He didn't. Yeah, but I thought he was a really good coach too, though. But you know, I thought
he had some good offensive teams, and he had a couple of really good defensive superstars throughout his coaching career. But what I remember from the late 80s and 90s when we moved here in the late 80s, he just never had the offensive superstar, and all management gave him were superstar retreads. Marcus Allen, and Joe Montana. Yeah, and so yeah, if he would have had a couple of lightning in the bottle kind of guys like Patrick Mahomes, I think he would have had a shot.
Yeah. So yeah, but Andy Reid, I always thought Andy Reid was that, you know, was a really good coach. All right, so moving on from football, right? To this is the NBA All-Star weekend. Y'all watched anything so far as the All-Star festivities so far?
I made it about 5-10 minutes in on the celebrity game, and I'm like, I'm out.
Yeah. I watched about 20 minutes of the dunk contest.
Yeah, and so who was that? What's this guy named Mac? This is his third time winning, right?
Yeah.
Mac.
I mean, he's jumping over cars and all this and all that stuff. I mean,
yeah. I think the dunk contest, in my opinion, kind of played out because everybody's doing the same things now. Yeah. You know, I don't know, like what they can do as far as the dunk contest. I thought though that like the dunk contest probably will have more. It'll be better like if you get the NBA superstars kind of to compete against each other, because it's not really about like not just creativity, but you like when Mike challenged Dominique, or when Dr. J was in the dunk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, like people want to see those guys compete in it because they are, you know, when Kobe did it, and so yeah.
But they don't want to do it. The problem is the NBA stars don't want to do it anymore. That's the problem. They don't want to do it. So if you're going to do a dunk contest, you got to put somebody in it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when you put people in it that, you know, like they said this guy who just won it, McClellan, he only played 3 games. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's in the D League. He's in the D League. He's a D League guy.
Oh wow, I didn't know that. Yeah.
No, I'm sorry, G League. He's in the G League.
I know. Last year when he won it, I think he was on Philly staff. I mean, on their bench. Either last year or the year before when he won it, he was with Philly.
Yeah, the first year he was with Philly. Last year he was a G Leaguer, and this year he's a G Leaguer.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I think for the dunk contest, I think it'll be better if those big name players participate in it and go against each other. I think that'll add more excitement to the dunk contest.
Well,
even the 3-point contest, like Steph Curry didn't do it this year. Him or Clay didn't do it this year, right? And so Buddy Hield and who's the guy who won it this year? Tyler Hero won it, right?
Yeah. Hero
won it. Buddy Hield was in it. I don't know who else was in it.
Wasn't Dame Lillard?
Right. Yeah, Dame Lillard was in it. Yeah. And he said that he's not going to compete in it anymore.
It's not worth it. It's not worth your reputation getting beat.
Yeah.
Because the NBA is not putting anything up for it. The NBA has to learn from the NHL.
Yeah.
That's all it is to it. They have to learn from the NHL, and I'm surprised that the NHL went head to head with the NBA in these All-Star competitions. Mm-hmm. But I tell you, I watched the American Canada game yesterday. Oh my God!
Yeah.
I mean, and I was scratching my head thinking, okay, they're not going to do a full-on All-Star game in the NHL.
Mm-hmm.
We'll see how this plays out. But I mean, going to this 4 nations format where they're going country against country. Now you're kind of bringing in sort of an Olympic kind of feel to it, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
And you got passion involved. 9 seconds in last night, there were 3 fights. Canada versus USA.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Dang. I mean, that's passion right there.
Right.
And in the NHL, America versus Canada has always kind of been the, brother against brother kind of fight.
Mm-hmm.
You don't mess with your brother, but you're the only one when you're pissed off and you go against your brother, that's some serious, haymakers being thrown. And they got last night, both teams were like, yeah, we're getting after this.
Right.
And it's not the 200 to 198 NBA score, and it's not the touch football kind of NFL.
Right.
This is, man, we got something to play for, and it's not money.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was looking at one of the sports shows this morning. Did you realize that Russia was one of the countries that wasn't in it this year?
It's supposed to be the top 4 countries was the format that they came up with, but because of
the sanctions. It's the sanctions that Russia has.
Because of the war, they had to because they're like 3rd or 4th in number of players.
Mm-hmm.
And they had to go down to Finland, who's like 5, 8, 9% of the NHL.
Yeah, but they were talking about next year. Russia could be in it next year, depending on if they lift the sanctions on them and everything.
If they stick with that format, which I'm a big fan of this format, I like it. Yeah.
So
I think
go ahead, man.
I was going to say, I think that's what the NBA needs to get into. If you want to reach a lot more foreign countries and get your brand out there, make your All-Star festivities include the world. Get the best team in China, get the best team in France, get the best team in Israel. Have those teams come over and play in the NBA All-Star Week. You know what I'm saying? Do what the NHL is doing. Get a bigger grasp on the world and show them. Because I don't get a chance to see nobody in Japan play, but yet they talk about Japan players.
Mm-hmm.
Bring them over here and let the world see what they play with.
Yeah.
You know, that's how you build your brand up worldwide. Soccer does it all the time. So I don't understand why the NBA wants to focus on the superstars that don't want to participate in the damn game.
And
Even
that's
even uh,
crazy.
even Major League Baseball has the what do they call that? The classic or whatever it is.
Mhm. Right. They do it in the Little League.
Yep.
The Little League World Series is actually a World Series.
Hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So I just don't understand, like I said, the thinking of the relevance of the All Star week for the NBA right now.
So
Because
let me.
now it's not even East versus West, is it? Is it like Shaq team versus somebody else's team versus somebody else's team?
Yeah.
They doing some type of 4 team, like elimination type thing this
Yeah.
evening with the NBA game.
Yeah.
So.
Kenny, Chuck, and Shaq um, took the rosters from the East and the West, and they got to basically do like a draft, right? And
Hmm.
so they picked their teams based off of the All Stars, which East and West doesn't really matter at that point, right?
Hmm.
And
Right.
and then so then the 4 teams that are in this weird first to 40 tournament are those 3 teams, and then the Rising Stars team, and
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah,
Yeah.
listen.
it
Again, you know, they try to figure it out, and it's just not going to work. I'm not interested in the All Star game at all.
Yeah, I'm gonna check it
But
out because I want to see what this format, like what happens with this format. But let me ask y'all this though, like, so what do you think? Like, what do you think is the reason for the decline in the NBA, the decline in like attendance, the decline in interest? And I even, in my opinion, I don't even think it's a decline in like the level, like the skill level in basketball. Personally.
I'm gonna tell you what the decline is, and I've been saying this for the last year and a half. The NBA is not setting its next superstars up.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, people are tuning in to watch all the older guys play, and as older as they get, less people are going to tune in to watch these guys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, right now one of the highest rated NBA games was Golden State versus LA. Why? Because of the Steph versus LeBron. You're not going to have that next year. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Who is the NBA setting up as a superstar to take these guys' places? And
Yeah.
that's to me is the market. It was what the NBA is not marketing is the reason why people aren't tuning in. You're
Well,
not marketing high. You're not marketing your high end superstars right now, or who you
well,
believe to be the high end superstars.
Well, let me ask you this: like, could like when you have superstars or franchise ball players moving from different from team to team, like, is that having an effect though on like how you can market? I think because you had LeBron James moving from team to team, you had what's the other guy named Kevin Durant moving from team to team. I thought that kind of hurt. I think you still need a solid home fan base, even for your franchise ball players. And I think Steph Curry did his part, but I think Kevin Durant and LeBron James kind of missed the mark with their ring chasing and that player empowerment.
Well, see, and I agree with you on that point because moving around changes the marketplace of the way the NBA is. But
Mm-hmm.
you got to look at it this way: the NBA has been doing that since the '70s. Kareem moving from Milwaukee to LA.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't a move to make LA better. It was a move to get into that big market and have that marquee player name in that big market. So who did that hurt? That hurt Milwaukee, but it helped LA.
Mm-hmm.
So I just think the NBA right now they rolled that horse that was the NBA from 2010 to 2020. That was
Mm-hmm.
a marketing machine. Okay, Culver came in and threw them off a little bit, and I think they just haven't been able to regain anything since COVID. The interest in the NBA isn't as high as it is in football. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? And with the NFL taking over everything now, everything, and now with baseball, now let's not forget that baseball now they're coming and moving in now too. The
Mm-hmm.
baseball season, training camp is starting in February. It ain't even spring yet. It ain't even close to spring, and baseball training campuses started. You know
Mm-hmm.
what I'm saying? If these sports is able to take their their product and make it a year-round industry instead of just a 4 month based type situation. And then the NBA can't do it right now. They don't know how to do it. They need to be able to market it all year round. And unfortunately, they can't figure it out. They
Yeah.
can't figure out that they got a great product with the WNBA, with the college NBA. With the college players coming in, they can't figure out how to incorporate that. I mean, why can't All Star season be, the WNBA throwing some scrimmage games? Why can't the WNBA be in corporation with the NBA and NBA All Star Week? You know what I'm saying? It's little things like that that keeps the NBA trying to go alive. Keep them alive, and they're just not doing it. I'm not interested in it.
Yeah. Well, I thought that Caitlin Clark should have her. They should have had it where Caitlin Clark and Sabrina Ionescu competed like I thought they was going to compete in that 3-point shootout. I thought that would have been good yesterday for All Star Weekend. That would have drew
Yeah,
some. It would have drew some interest. So now, how much interest will the WNBA like? So if they try to do it on their own, the WNBA Sabrina Ionescu versus Caitlin Clark, that's going to draw a lot of interest. But I thought it just would have been more if you'd have been like the men versus women.
exactly. And the way they did it last year, they should have did it again this year.
They
They
should have
should have
kept
kept
it up.
that top shooters in the NBA, top shooters in the WNBA, and let them
Yeah.
go at it.
Yeah.
Because
That's what they should have did.
the way it ended last year with Sabrina Ionescu and Steph Curry, I think it was setting up for like a lot of drama.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if it's setting up for a lot of drama, then you add Caitlin Clark to the mix, and then Klay Thompson to the mix. That's people was talking about it before he was even etched in
Yeah.
stone. And so I thought the NBA missed the mark on that. I don't know if it was their fault or if Caitlin Clark refused to
Yeah.
participate. They missed the mark on that.
I don't think it's Caitlin Clark. I think Caitlin Clark is a team player. So if the
Mhm.
NBA would have went to her like, look, I want you to come in and participate, I think she would have participated.
I do too.
You know what I'm
Yeah,
saying?
I do too.
It's just the fact that, like you said, the NBA missed the mark on so much stuff. I
yeah,
mean, you go, you can't, some stuff you can't just come back from.
yeah,
And that part of the All Star game, and you keep it up every single year, every single All Star game, getting them the top skill players from the WNBA to be in there with you. It's exciting because that's what's selling basketball right now. It's not the NBA; it's the women's side of it.
Yeah.
hmm
Right.
The women's is selling the NBA. Basketball right now. I'd rather watch a women's basketball game in college than watch the men's basketball game.
No, that's true.
Like,
I watch. Yeah, I follow women more now in college than I do the college. Like yesterday, I did watch Duke, and I think it was Stanford. Somebody I forgot who Duke played. Cooper
yeah,
Flag, because I wanted to see Cooper Flag. But
right.
yeah, But other than that, I'm following the women's game. I think yeah, I think the NBA though. I think they're going to get back to keeping their franchise ball players in one city because, like, if you think about it, Boston, Minnesota, OKC, like their franchise ball players don't look like they're gonna go anywhere. They look like they saw what Kevin Durant and LeBron James did with moving around, ring chasing and stuff like that. And I think they kind of learned from that. And I think this next generation is going to sit still and they just going to, like Minnesota and OKC, they're going to go at each other. Boston, is going to go at whoever is, all those guys going to go at each other from their prospective cities. That's what I think they're going to do because I think they learned their lesson.
And that's for me, if it starts evolving to that,
Mm-hmm.
that definitely will get my attention more because, like I said, I think I said it last week or the week before. What we're missing right now are the old school rivalries,
Mm-hmm.
and
hmm
part of that is because guys move around so much. And I mean, if you're going up against the same dudes year after year fighting for playoff spots, it just
Yeah.
builds the animosity. You want to beat that other team.
Yeah,
And,
you
and
do.
Well,
and we don't have a lot of that light right now. And why was Canada and America, the U.S. getting ready to throw down last night? Because
Right.
those dudes know each other, and they just like, man, you guys denied us last time at the Olympics or whatever it was, and you just it's the back and forth that you create that history, and once you create that history, when the Pistons show up in Chicago, you want to knock the dude's block off.
Right.
You don't have that in today's game.
Yeah.
Well, see, hey, think about it this way though. Look at the last 2, maybe 3 years. It's not the NBA players that's been initiating these trades. It's these GMs.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean, look at Carl. Look at Carl Anthony Towns going from Minnesota over to the Knicks. I'm sure Anthony Towns didn't say trade me.
You got to keep rubbing that in my man.
But I'm just saying, I'm sure he didn't say trade me.
Oh,
you know, Luka didn't say trade me.
Yeah, Cat said, I want to stay.
Right. I think that the old school mentality with these new school NBA players is there. But what it is with the salary cap and the way these franchises want to instantly win, you know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that, well, we got to win now. We got to win now. Yeah. Okay, you're a superstar, so now you're valuable for me to trade you.
But I think with the Luka Doncic being an exception, I think a lot of the franchise, I think the franchise ball players like the guy that's in Milwaukee, and then you got whoever's those guys are going to sit still, right? But for role players and those second tier players, for them to move around, like GMs, they more likely to move one of those kind of players than they are somebody who is like a franchise type ball player. And so,
well, look, hey, they couldn't move Kevin Durant.
Yeah.
They couldn't move. They couldn't move Embiid. They wanted to, but they couldn't move him.
Yeah. But they're very patient with those guys too.
Does Embiid have a no trade?
He doesn't. He doesn't. But the problem with Embiid is his contract.
Yeah, but look at how long.
That's the problem with Embiid is his contract
and his health.
So if Embiid moved now, whether it be by his choice or by management choice, it really don't. It's not a bad thing because management gave him a chance to do what he was supposed to do coming out of college, right? So if they move him now, I don't know how many years he's been in the league, but that's not like LeBron or what Kevin Durant and them ring chasing, right? So that don't apply to somebody like Embiid. But what I'm saying is when a franchise ball player, when you got all these different guys in different cities going back and forth at each other, another thing that people don't realize as an individual player, that causes you to want to get better. You know what I mean? Because if you're not leaving, you're not going, if your low post game is weak, you're not leaving the team up with a player who got a low post. You got to improve your low post game. If that's what cost you the series last year, that's what you got to do. You got to work on however you lost, your mid-range, your low post, or whatever. You turn the ball over. You got to get better every year in order to beat the competition. And so that's why it's good to sit in one city or, in your hometown.
Yeah, but sometimes, sitting in your hometown will defeat the purpose. Let's talk about Embiid again. Embiid, and where he is down in the East, he goes up against, Giannis every year. Now he has Towns that he has to go up against every year. You know what I'm saying? And what's the dude from Boston that always kills him? What's the center in Boston? Huh?
Tatum and Brown?
No, not Tatum and Brown, but what's the center name in Boston?
I forgot. I know who you're talking about.
Is it Lopez?
No. The center in Boston?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't Lopez. I forgot the guy's name.
Porzingis. Thank you. Yes, Porzingis. But yeah, it's sometimes it's just what you got. Sometimes a fresh start is what you need, and it just not working. Prime example, Paul George. Paul George went from LA to Philly, thinking it was better, greener patches over there. And Paul George, you don't even mention, they don't even show highlights of Paul George anymore. You know what I'm saying? Don't even show highlights of him. And I believe for me that was a move financially for LA to get rid of Paul George because we paying him too much to be what little he has left.
Yeah, I thought now would you all right? So Paul George, when he was in Indiana, he was their franchise ball player, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know why I didn't. I don't know. I didn't have a big problem with Paul George leaving Indiana, but I think maybe he should have stayed there too. You know what I mean? Just for the sake of helping Indiana and helping the league. But
Yeah, but hey, if you're trying to win it, Indiana's not going to put anything around you.
yeah,
You know.
I did not have a big problem with LeBron going to Miami.
right.
I didn't, and a lot of Cleveland and Ohio folks were really upset, and I get it. But
Yeah.
but when he got down there, started winning, going to championships, and doing all that, and then making another move, that's when it starts to kind of feel like, okay, well, it's you're doing this me thing and not
Right.
yeah.
It's ring chasing instead of trying to build, because like I said, when he went to Miami, so now down in Miami, you got Pat Riley as a GM, you got Eric Spoelstra, who's a coach, and you have a good culture down there. So I thought once he left Miami, I was like, you leave a good culture, they're going to put some more talent around you, and then on top of that, some of the responsibility falls on you to get better as a player. So I thought that if he had stayed in Miami, I thought that would have been better for his career, just to stay there.
Yeah.
But when you move from town to town, now you have to reestablish like a base. You got to reestablish a culture. Then you have to bring in players who are going to fit their culture, you know what I mean? Or who can help you do, so.
But hey, let's give LeBron credit though. He's won a championship everywhere he went.
Yeah.
Well, that's true.
You gotta give him some credit for that now. There's not too many people to say that every franchise he's gone to, he's won a championship. Jordan can't even say that.
Well, hold on. He didn't win the first time around with Cleveland.
Right. But he does have one with Cleveland.
Yeah.
He does have one with Cleveland, but he didn't win the first time around. And so I think, to a lot of Mike's shorts, he doesn't do it on his back. He does it with a gumbo of other players that as a team they get there.
Right, yeah. And see, that's what you can say about Isaiah Thomas. You can say that about Larry Bird, Magic. Like, you can't mention those guys' name without thinking of that city, And so
Patrick Ewing.
Yeah, even though Patrick didn't win no rings, I just respect what he, and Charles
Barkley, he was monster.
Right. What Patrick did in New York, I was a fan of New York, even though they always went down to the Celtics, then the year they lost to Houston Rockets, Indiana took them out one time.
And I hate to say this, but Karl Malone and John Stockton, they stayed together through the whole career in Utah.
I appreciate what Karl Malone and John Stockton did. So all those different cities had their ball players, they had their core, and they just, they ran into a buzzsaw. Most of them ran into that Michael Jordan buzzsaw, right? But other than that, they had successful careers. Karl Malone, John Stockton. Even Gary Payton and what's the big guy Gary Payton had with him dunking all over?
Sean Kemp.
Yeah, so that was heavy back in the day,
Hey, but hold on. But remember, Gary Payton won his championship in Miami, though.
Yeah.
Let's not forget that. He won it in Miami.
Yeah. Well, all right, Jermaine. So Jermaine says that look at how New York treated Patrick, Ewing for his loyalty. Yeah. And see, sometimes that come with like in the long run, like towards the end of your career, when they know that, all right, you gave everything that you had, in the tank. We know we're not going to get, maybe we can get another player and we can start this next run without you. And sometimes it happens to great players, they might, they don't always get to retire, like Kobe did, and or like Mike. Well, Mike didn't retire in Chicago, but like Kobe did, like Isaiah did, like Bird did, in their city. They don't always get that. I didn't like seeing Patrick Ewing in that uniform though. That where was he at? He went to Seattle, or was it he's with the Magic at one time at one point?
Yeah, I think he played with the Magic at one point.
Yeah, I couldn't get used to seeing Patrick Ewing outside of that New York. They did. I thought they treated him wrong too, Jermaine, but I appreciate the fact that Patrick Ewing stayed in New York for the bulk of his career.
Well, hey, that's the NBA for you, though. You know what I'm saying? That's what I'm saying. The NBA got great tradition that they can build off of, and then what they need to do is they need to start making these contracts a lot harder for these guys to move around with. You know, a player shouldn't be able to demand where he wants to go or when he wants to play. You know what I'm saying? And that's what kills the NBA. If a star player says, "Hey, I'm not going to play for you anymore," and then the team has nothing to do but force to trade him. And then when they trade him, they can't get nothing for him because they know the player won't do anything. Jimmy Butler, the prime example.
Well,
Jimmy Butler forced that trade.
Well, before Jimmy Butler, you had Anthony Davis. You know, like what he did to go to with LeBron and those guys over there. You know, so but I think that these younger players are seeing that it's going to be better for their brand and their legacy if they stay put in one city.
And see, I think you're right about that, but I don't think the young players are seeing it. Because I'm gonna tell you what the one thing the young players are seeing automatically that changes the game: the guaranteed contract.
Yeah.
Okay, that changes the game. You know what I'm saying? So if I can stay 5 years guaranteed, no matter what I do, I'm still getting paid. You know that changes your game. Whereas though back in the day, if you play like shit, you was gonna get paid like shit.
Yeah. I think that I think that the incentive for the younger players, like how the contract, like the cat is already out the bag. So if they see incentive for them sitting in one city, I think they'll do that because it suits their needs. But if the league try to force them to stay in one city or commit to one city, then they're gonna give some pushback.
Yeah, but like I said, it's sometimes it's all about it ain't even all about the ring sometimes for these guys. I think these guys just see the ring as just okay. I won a championship. It ain't putting no more money in my pocket. You know what I'm saying? Because you got some guys that hasn't won a championship making more money than guys that have been winning championship for 2-3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, let's go prime example. John Morant. Where has John Morant ever went in his career so far?
Yeah.
But he's one of the top 3 paid guards in the game. But he hasn't gone anywhere.
Yeah.
So it ain't to me. They're playing off of recognition of their game, and let me get that bag instead of trying to figure out how to become champions, like you say. Old school guys, they wanted to be champions, and they said, "Let's figure it out as a team, as a city, how to become champions." They don't do that no more.
Well, I'm thinking, all right, so Jermaine just said, give him an example of who wants to be on one team. You know, I think like Jason Tatum. I like Jason Tatum in Boston. You know, I think they him and what's the guy named Brown? You know, Jaylen Brown. They got over the hump and they wanted us. I think that what we saw them do in Boston, I think is good for the league. What's the other guy?
Yeah, let me ask you a question though. To piggyback off and say, you're right about that, but they are winning franchises. Name somebody on a losing franchise.
Giannis.
Giannis
loyalty, huh?
I mean, you consider the Bucks a losing franchise?
Well, before Giannis got there, like Milwaukee, it was a long time before Milwaukee had won it. And even before Giannis had went to the championship, Giannis pledged his loyalty to that city and to that franchise because Giannis watched what LeBron did. Giannis watched what he watched what KD did and what happened to them. And so he knew that it was the right thing for him to sit in Milwaukee, build with them, and get a franchise, you know what I mean, and get a championship. So I like that. Dame Lillard tried it, but I think Dame Lillard panicked a little bit and then he left.
So you don't think them signing Giannis' brother to a contract had anything to do with him staying?
Well, yeah, probably. I mean, because he at one point in time, Giannis said he was homesick. So in order to combat his, you know what I mean, they brought his brother there. So I thought that was good. Let me see, American born.
See,
Yeah,
I don't see too many superstars on a losing franchise in this day and age willing to stay and rebuild.
Well,
You know what I'm saying?
so back in the day, though, what were some of the superstars that stayed and were able to turn the corner with their teams?
yeah,
Right.
Probably Detroit. When Isaiah got to Detroit sucked ass when Isaiah got there.
right.
Yeah.
And he stayed with them until they built up the team and everything and went rogue on everybody.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Hey, let's go Jordan. Prime example, Jordan. Let's remember Jordan first 5 years, he wasn't the Jordan that we talked about right now.
They couldn't get
Yeah.
past Detroit.
Right. So Jordan could have easily said, you know what, I'm out of here. Let me team up with somebody else. But he had confidence in Scottie Pippen and what Chicago's future was, and
Yeah.
he stayed with that buildup.
yeah.
And now in today's game, are there any cats that can do that?
Right.
Again,
Jim, to your point, like to your question, right? Now, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that if you stay that, like, if more often than not, if you stay with the team, you're going to wind up at best probably being like Karl Malone and John Stockton, or you're going to wind up being like Charles Barkley in most cases. You know what I mean? And then so that was the thing. People that want to be like Charles Barkley and Karl Malone and them and stay in one town, you know, they want, so that's, you know, but in most cases, you're going to wind up on the short end of that. You know, you're not going to be like Isaiah most of the time. You're not going to be like Giannis. You know, most people going to wind up, but I still think that it's not about the individual, it's about the game. And people don't see it like that. You know,
I just think the game, so the game has changed because we've talked about it all the time, right?
Mm-hmm.
But also the way the teams are run has completely changed, and with the CBA and just all that stuff, it's hard for a guy to stay in one place, and if you don't, even if you don't have the superstars that can come in and say, okay, I know I'm good enough that I can turn this whole thing around.
Mm-hmm.
We just don't have those anymore, right? And so I think the whole playing field is such that we'll never see that type of environment again. Is I think what I'm trying to say, right?
Yeah.
I don't know that the way the teams are run, to E-Man's point, and the type of superstars that we have today, I just don't think you're going to have the perfect storm of the Chicago Bulls drafting Jordan in 1982.
Yeah,
right.
and that's why I said that's why you need Jason Tatum in Boston, you need Anthony Edwards in Minnesota, then you need, you know, Ja Morant, you know, and then these guys just got it. That's the best, like, what a league can manufacture. Like, you get a good ball player and you hold on to him, and you can keep those type rivalries going. And then every once in a while, like, yeah, when you get a Mike or you get a Kobe or you get a LeBron, and then if they fall to a team that's like, you know, at the bottom of the barrel, then boom, then the whole league come up with somebody like that. But other than that, you know.
But see, you got to remember this though. Most teams right now have what they call a 5 year window. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
when you draft somebody, that person has 5 years to prove himself. Either you're going to prove yourself as a superstar, or you're going to prove yourself to be a regular player. And my prime example is the dude that went from the Knicks that used to play for Duke. What is his name? They traded him like 2 years ago. What is the guy's name? Yeah,
the left-handed guy who went to
yeah.
Toronto.
Yes.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I can't remember his name. The left-handed kid from Duke. He played with
Right.
Zion.
Right. Now, he came out supposed to be a superstar, and he played pretty good for the Knicks. but he wasn't that superstar for the Knicks, and they traded him. You know what I'm saying? So even as a rookie, you got to come in and make your stamp on a league in the first 5 years, or you can guarantee you're going to be somewhere else because these GMs ain't playing these games anymore because the contracts are getting bigger, the contracts are being guaranteed, and then the players have more power now deciding when to play and when not to play. You know what I'm saying? So it's these GMs have to make some really big decisions because it's a win-lose situation. Philly's the prime example. They betted on Embiid. Okay, they could have got rid of Embiid the first 5 years. They could have got rid of Embiid in year 7. But they stuck with him, and it's just not working out. Embiid can't stay healthy.
Yeah.
And as long as they hold on to Embiid, the harder it's going to get to trade Embiid.
Well, let me ask you this then. All right. So, do you think that the Mavericks saw Embiid not taking care of his body, not being able to get his team to the next level, and then that's why they moved on from Luka? Could that have been their thought process in Dallas?
No, because if you do that, you don't get Anthony Davis. Because Anthony Davis and Embiid to me are the same two individuals cut from the same cloth.
Yeah, but
Anthony Davis' career would be so much better if he could play healthy. You know what I'm saying?
No doubt.
And because Anthony Davis is a one in a lifetime generational type player, but his problem is he can't stay healthy, and that's what's going to kill Anthony Davis' career. Because every time you're going to mention Anthony Davis moving from this time forward, it's going to be, well, he was good, but he couldn't stay healthy.
Same thing with Embiid.
Right, and when you get a narrative like that, teams are looking for. I'm telling you, Dallas is going to move on from Anthony Davis. That whole move for Luka was a money grab. They didn't want to pay Luka. They knew they weren't going to pay Luka, and they wanted to get something for him.
Well, let me ask you this: if Luka take his physical health, if he take his physical health seriously, if he eat the way he's supposed to, and do you think they still move on from Luka?
Let me ask you a question. Now, really think about it in this, and I want both of your guys' opinions about it, and everybody else watching. Luka itself, what did Luka weight? How did that damage his game?
How did what damage his game?
His weight.
Oh, his weight.
Yeah.
He started to get he's starting to miss games now because of his he coming into training camp like 20 and 30 pounds too heavy.
But isn't his average staying the same? When it's time to play? When it's time to play?
No doubt he was in the he was in the finals.
Okay, isn't he still an elite player?
No doubt. Look, so but he's not like Babe Ruth, like he gonna be sitting in the dugout drinking a beer. You know what I mean? Like that's gonna catch up with him.
Listen, you say that, but you gotta remember two things. One, he's 25 years old.
Right.
So he can afford to eat a cheeseburger on Monday and go to the gym on Tuesday and rock out. Okay? He's not Zion. Zion doesn't have the mentality of an NBA superstar. Okay? Zion is a good basketball player that wants to be on the outside looking in. Luka he's been playing professional basketball since 14, 15 years old. So he knows what the professional game is like. So, okay, he comes in just like Barkley. You come in a cheeseburger heavy. Okay, but when it comes time to play, who you getting? You know what I'm saying? So I just don't see it as a point of they talking about him not being in shape, because if that was the case, they would have traded him at the beginning of the season when he wasn't in shape.
Yeah, we're gonna over time we're gonna find out more and more about what's really behind the trade. I don't think we got the whole story yet. I think there's going to be more coming out about this, and I don't know what's going to be noise and what's going to be the truth, but it still doesn't add up in my opinion.
Yeah.
Hey, I think this. Pay attention to it. There may be some massage parlors out there that got Luka's name on it. Talk about don't come in, don't let this man in. So somebody got something doing something.
I hope
because
not.
Right, that Anthony Davis doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, well, yeah, I think, and to Jermaine's point, right? He said Cuban put up with Luka, and this new owner, and the new owner didn't put up with him, and also the new owner even made a statement about like the level of commitment that he got from Luka, as far as like his professionalism. So
Yo, they came from the NBA Finals last year.
I know.
That's like, come on, man. Like, who hasn't put up with the superstar antics in the city? Come on now. Chicago put up with Jordan antics.
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
Well,
every team puts up with that superstar antics. That's why they're the superstar of the team.
No, that's to Jim's point, I think some more stuff, maybe something else come out, because that's the only thing on the surface that I can see, like why you would move Luke on from Luka, and he at the end of the bench eating hot dogs and drinking beer and stuff.
Listen, like I said, I heard that. This is what I heard. Okay, that the team that now owns the Dallas Mavericks, they get their money from Las Vegas. Okay, they asked the NBA to move Dallas to Las Vegas. The NBA told them no. Okay, but there's a clause in the contract with the team in the Dallas city that if they don't hit a certain amount of people for revenue wise, they are free to move the team, which doesn't kick in until next year.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's why to me, I'm thinking it may be one of those things that, you know what, we can start over, long as we start over in LA. I mean, in Las Vegas before they get that expansion team.
Yeah.
Las Vegas is the hottest city right now for expansion teams or teams to move. And this team, and this team and the owners of this team, their money comes from Vegas. They built a stadium in Vegas. They're building one now in Vegas.
Well, look, if you're going to Vegas, wouldn't you want to take Luka with you though? Just imagine if you move to Vegas, you got Luka.
It's the whole plot of Major League, right?
Yeah.
You gotta tank the team and get them run out of town before you can go someplace that you want to go.
Yeah. Attendance wise. Look, the Ravens did it.
Yeah.
Modell got out that Cleveland contract because the Cleveland wasn't coming. He got out that contract and was able to move the team. So to me, I think that's the underlying thing of what's going on with Luka.
Yeah.
If you keep Luka on that Dallas team, you're going to the playoffs almost every year. Especially with Kyrie Irving. You're going to the playoffs.
I mean, that's a conspiracy theory I could buy.
Yeah. So CF71 says, why give him a pass, referring to Luka, I'm assuming. Why give him a pass? People acting like he won an NBA title. People love, giving him that participation trophy. So that's a good point, right?
Yeah, he's go ahead, Jim. Yeah, no, I mean, yeah, he hasn't won the chip yet,
right?
But I think everyone kind of recognizes he's a top 5 NBA player.
I mean, absolutely.
And if that's the participation trophy we're talking about, he's a top 5 guy.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I just think that so maybe you're right, Jim. Maybe some more is going to come out about, like I said, about why they moved on from Luka. Something else is going to come out about that. But
hey, I'll tell you, look, you heard it here first. Dallas Mavericks moved to LA. I mean, Las Vegas. So that's what that's all about.
So within the next few years, you think the Mavericks are going to move to Las Vegas?
But even if they don't move, if those are the beginnings of what they're starting to act like, that proves the point. Even if they don't make it there, if they start moving down that road and making public statements like that, then it's just like, well.
And then I'm gonna tell you what's gonna prove some of my point. Let's see what they do with Anthony Davis in the offseason. Let's see if they don't try to shop Anthony Davis in the offseason.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, because Anthony Davis doesn't make any sense because he's hurt all the time. You know what I'm saying? So you get him in that support. Now, if they brought him in to play with Luka and Kyrie, I would say beautiful move. They're trying to win a championship. But to me, you just don't trade Luka for Anthony Davis and expect him to win anything. Because he's just not one of those. He's not one of those healthy players.
Yeah.
Because right now, what they saying, he needs a knee surgery or something like that now.
Well, I know that indefinitely. I think he's going to be out indefinitely, right? But I'm not sure if he needs surgery. But yeah, I couldn't figure that out why they would move Luka. I can see I thought the Lakers was going to move on from AD sooner or later, but I never thought that Luka would have to would leave the Mavericks. So, but still,
yes.
but once you get beyond, like I was saying earlier, once you get beyond like you get to the next generation, I don't think you're going to see a lot of player movement when it comes to franchise type ball players. And I think that's what's going to bring the league back, because you're going to have rivalries within those different franchises.
Right. And I don't think the franchise can afford to move them, because you need superstars to fill your building.
Right. And it's good for the league. You know what I mean? Like, if you got, you have your franchise ball players sitting still, that's good for the league. It's good for the player, because it makes him, like I said earlier, it makes the individual player have to work on their game and get better. So,
And let me use prime example, Zion. Why hasn't New Orleans moved on from Zion yet? Like you said, they need that superstar to maintain that building.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody can't be OKC. Just put a whole bunch of people together, and then they start winning. You know what I'm saying? Some teams aren't built like that. That GMs aren't that clever. So what you do, you keep one superstar and let them fill the building every night, and you roll with it.
Yeah. Well,
because I guarantee you this. Let's say Jordan decided to come out, retire, and play for the last 15 games of the year. Every team in the NBA is going to want to grab him.
Yeah.
Everybody, oh my God, Jordan's coming out just for the aspect of Jordan's going to bring people into the stadium. I mean, into the arena. That's it.
I ain't gonna lie, man. If Jordan come out of retirement, I'll go watch him.
Yeah.
Exactly. See, that's what I'm talking about.
Hey, I'll watch Michael Jordan sit at the end of the bench. I don't care. Even if you're in the game, I just
just for the chance.
Yeah. Let me see. CF71 said it's too much trying to big brain moves for the Mavs going to Vegas. Let me see. Looks like the Raiders and the Chargers fans are horrible. They have horrible attendance. So I guess what CF71 is saying, that like that move to Vegas may not be what everybody is not what it's billed to be. You know what I mean? There's a lot going on in Vegas. Vegas is like Miami. You know what I mean? What's the other city? Like some cities, if they got so much going on, that if you're not winning, they're not really gonna pay attention to you.
But where does the money in Vegas really come from? Is it
gambling?
It's gambling.
Right.
Yeah, gambling.
It's gambling and merch, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good point, but Vegas is a different weird universe than other major markets.
Yeah.
And if I'm not mistaken, the Vegas Strip is the city, right? And everything outside of it, the community is the suburbs of it. So there's really no residential areas in Vegas City, is it?
No, that strip is, you're right. That's like the financial hub of that city, because that's where everything happens at. So, but I've never been like on the outskirts of, I don't know what is outside, that strip.
Because most of their money comes from tourism.
Yeah.
So people are coming in, people coming in watching the game. So,
Well, it comes from gambling and,
but my question is, right, but why all the major sports want to go there? Because baseball wants to go there. Hockey just went there. Like, who plays hockey in Nevada? But they're there, it's just.
And they won a championship there last year.
Right. Yeah. So it's CF71. I hear what you're saying, man. But hey, Vegas is the hot spot, man. That's where it is.
Yeah.
And I think if the Raiders put out a better product, I think more people will come see the Raiders, because their fans travel.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they put a better product out there, they might get a little bit more attendance issues. Won't have those attendance issues.
Yeah, but to your point, though, I think they make so much money off of merchandise and gambling that they can, that gives them a larger margin for error. You know what I mean? So like they're not really booking or counting on like the fan attendance as much as like some other big cities or big market teams would probably be.
Like a Dallas.
Right, right, right. But Dallas, though, Dallas is a big draw too, though. Outside of like when it comes to merch and stuff like that, Dallas make a lot of money when it comes to their merch.
Sure.
Right,
Pittsburgh,
but you got to remember though, it's because of the name that's on the back of that Dallas jersey.
right, right.
It ain't really because of this Dallas jersey itself. It's the name that's on the back of that jersey. Because remember when Luca first game and they had the Luca name on the back of their jerseys and stuff. His jersey was selling like crazy, and they was
Yeah,
giving the shirts away, but they were selling the jerseys like crazy.
yeah, yeah. So
So
let me
sometimes go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
quick question then. So do y'all think, like with this new crop, this new generation of NBA ball players, do y'all think that they are going to be able to turn it around as far as like start to draw back interest in the NBA and draw the crowds back?
So my answer to that is let's think about who the big names have been coming out of college recently, right? And who are the names that are coming out that attract interest? It kind of goes back to what we were saying about the WNBA. We had all sorts of love and interest for the drama last year when Caitlin came out and some of these other players came out because of the drama. Who are the names that are generating that drama that are coming out right now?
Right.
Well, besides Cooper Flag, like I said, I haven't really been. Besides Cooper Flag, I don't really know of a lot of big name players coming out of men's college basketball to that next level. So it's Cooper Flag, and then I don't
See,
know.
and you're right about that. Yeah, and the crazy part about this is if you really look at the way the NBA is structured right now, like you said, the college basketball scene is not putting up the level of players to interact with them to go to the pros. Okay, and you got to look at it. The last time I've seen this with the NBA was in the '70s. Okay, when you only had a couple of major names in the NBA, but the little teams were playing great basketball with no name players.
Yes.
And I think the transition is coming of seeing itself back to that point again. In the next 5 years, between the next 3 to 5 years, you're not going to have one big superstar, two big superstars. You're going to have winning teams with role players that know their role and are able to win. So now the franchises are going to be put out there. Like right now, everybody talking about OKC like they're the Cinderella team. I can't name one player on OKC.
Yeah.
Not one. Okay, can't name one. But if you ask anybody that's a NBA analyst right now that knows the NBA, they will tell you OKC is the pound for pound best team in the NBA.
But see,
And
winning
that's
cures all of that, though. You let them get to the playoffs, and you'll know because they're making a name for themselves.
right,
So
and that's what I'm saying. I think right now the way the NBA players, that's going right now, I don't think the NBA is going to draft for superstardom. I think they're going to draft for a position and what I need, and that's going to transition into winning. So if you're a team that needs a point guard, you're going to draft the best point guard in the draft, no matter what his name is, no matter who he plays for. You know what I'm saying? You're not going to go out there and get Duke's point guard because Duke won the national championship, or Auburn's point guard because they won the national championship and his name has been all on TV.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So that's where I think is the transitioning. The NBA is looking like the '70s, early '80s NBA. Okay, where so you play the game at your best position. You know what I'm saying? And that's just my opinion of it. So next 5 years.
Isn't it crazy how the NCAA portal has totally restructured how the NBA game is going to move forward, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, if you put a pin in all those points you just laid out, E-Man, why were the '80s the '80s? Well, two guys came out. They graduated in 1979, and their rivalry moved into the NBA, and everyone was watching that 1979 NCAA final, and they were taking those dudes. It's like, man, I can't wait to see what these guys do when they get to the NBA, and they gave us so much enjoyment in the '80s, and that moved right on in to that North Carolina team that won in '82, and the dudes that came out and just kept it going.
Yeah.
We're not going to see those names and that sense of anticipation with the way the portal gives us the NCAA nowadays.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
you're right.
that goes to Jermaine's point, right? So Jermaine says that y'all have to remember a lot of these new players not coming into the league poor anymore, so they have they don't have the patience.
Exactly.
And so well, let me ask you, so what can college basketball do? Because I watched yesterday. I watched what was
Auburn,
it?
Alabama.
Auburn,
Alabama.
Number 1 versus number 2.
Number 2.
But I didn't know any of those, good basketball game. There's a lot of talent on both of those teams, but I wasn't familiar with those guys. I didn't know those guys. And so, I can't remember like a number 1 team in the nation, number 2 team in the nation, and you don't know, you know what I mean? You don't know the players. That's just crazy.
Well, see, to me, this format, I mean, the way it is now, it's good it's good for college basketball. And I'm gonna tell you why. Because one thing that it really does for college basketball, it allows the regular player to become good. Okay, because a superstar won't sit on a bad team. So if I'm coming up and I know I play for like you said, Auburn, which is number 1 in the country right now, and I'm sitting there and a player like last year, like, yo, I don't want to play for Auburn no more. And then that means I get my opportunity because you want to move and play with a team like Kentucky or UConn because they always going. You know what I'm saying? So that allows better players to go to these mid-minor teams. You know what I'm saying? So now you're getting good players, almost great players on these average teams or these non-basketball teams, which opens it up for the whole NCAA. Because after yesterday's game in the SEC, they have never played a number 1 versus number 2. Never. But now look at it this way. Now look at it. Now you have the Big Ten isn't the big dog in the fight no more. The ACC isn't the big dog in the fight no more like it's been in the last 20, 25 years.
And you know what I'm saying? You got a lot of
a
new blood out there. You know, no more Mike Krzyzewski.
Yes.
You know, Tom Izzo is from the old school. Then you got what's the Calipari? He's over in Arkansas. Is he in Arkansas?
Mm-hmm.
Is that Arkansas where he is? You know, so it's just a whole new,
It changed the level of coaching that made that's why Mike Krzyzewski got out. Because it changed the level of coaching now because you only guarantee a player 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
So if that player's unhappy, that player can move. It ain't like he can move. It ain't like the coach can move. And the player can move if they're unhappy. So now you got to, cater to these grown kids, as I call them.
So look, does that mean like at the college level? So the college level coaches, their hands are kind of tied because you cannot push and motivate a kid to get better because of the leverage that the kids have now. Now, I'm not saying that it's a bad thing because, like kids should be compensated for what they do for those universities, but you can't like John Thompson, Bobby. What's the guy that was at Indiana? Bobby Knight.
Bobby Knight, yeah.
They could, they had leverage and they could motivate a kid to get better and play harder, but not in this day and age because a kid can move.
It's all about if I play for your team, am I gonna be on TV? Mm-hmm. Am I going to be recognized? Am I going to be noticed? I don't have to go to Duke now to play on TV all the time. Yeah. But back in the day, if you didn't play in the ACC, you weren't on television. You didn't play for the Big Ten, you weren't on television. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? So that opens all these mid-level, programs to say, look, I don't care what you say. Yeah. If you come play for me, you're going to be on TV.
Yep.
Your stock is going to go up. People are going to see you. You got tape. And then if you want to move next year, go ahead. But this year, I can promise you what's going to happen this year. And that's the whole spill. It ain't about what can happen in the next 4 years. Because John Thompson, whenever he used to sit into a kid's living room, first thing he would say, I can tell you what's going to happen in the next 4 years to your son. Mm-hmm. This is what's going to happen. He's going to be a freshman. He's going to sit. Sophomore, he's going to get over playing time. When he becomes a senior, he's going to start and he's going to be NBA. He's going to be NBA caliber person. They can't say that no more. All they can do is say, look, you come in this year, you're going to get this much TV time, and you're going to start.
Yep.
And that's it. They can't do 4-year productivity anymore.
All you have to do is look at how, and I'm going to use this team just because I've been around them for 30 plus years, and my son went to the school. I didn't, but my money did. You look at KU, and what were they able to do for just decades and decades and decades?
Mm-hmm.
And it was an old school mentality of how to build an NCAA juggernaut.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And then and so the one and done rule came in, and they just leveraged the heck out of it, right? Mm-hmm. Joel Embiid came through. Anthony Wiggins came through, and they just used all of these kids to leverage staying up at the top of the heap for years and years. NIL came in, and to your point, E-Man, the team and the coach lost the leverage.
Yeah.
And now where's KU? They're still in the top 20, but they're getting beat by UCF, and they're getting beat by the mids, and it's a bad look for KU.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's what this has done is change the narrative. There's no more mid-major conferences anymore.
Everybody mid-major.
Everybody playing on the same level right now.
Yep.
So, but do y'all think that's good for basketball, or is there a coach at the college level or at the pro level that's going to be able to come? Well, let's say college level, that's going to be able to come along and be like a Mike Krzyzewski or Dean Smith or somebody like that who can just, or John Thompson and at Georgetown, like, are they going to come along and be able to like build a dynasty at a university, or it's that those days are gone?
Do you need it?
Right.
If you're a 17-year-old kid who knows he's got the talent, do you need that?
Yeah, I think and see that, to my point, I think that's the difference between a Michael Jordan and a LeBron James. Michael Jordan, he needed coaching, and that's why Dean Smith, he allowed Dean Smith to coach him. He allowed what's the guy, Phil Jackson, to coach him. And that's the difference between those two careers. Like when you get these younger kids coming in there with these attitudes and all this talent, they don't know everything that they think they know. And so they leave opportunities. They leave opportunity on the table, and they miss some opportunities too.
But that's the monster that we created.
Yes.
We created that monster. You know what I'm saying? Guaranteed contracts, we created that. I mean, well, not we, but owners created that.
Yeah.
The monster that they're getting is the Frankenstein they developed.
Yep.
Okay. And so we can't blame the players for it, because if we were players, average players, and we could get what we got, we would take it. Mm-hmm. If your job say, hey, Mike, I'll pay you $100,000 to work for me, but then another job to say, hey, Mike, I'll pay you $25,000 to work for me, where are you going? Mm-hmm. $100,000 job.
Right.
No matter what your skill set is, your skill set is what somebody's willing to pay for. You can be a bum if they're willing to pay top dollar for it. That's where you're going to go, even though you're a bum. So it's that the monster was created by the NBA for what the NBA is now. And now in college is a different story. The monster in college was created because of the way the college and the NCAA treated the students in the past. Okay, that's why it is like that now. Because believe me, the NCAA did not want the situation that they're in right now. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? They fought NIL to the tooth and nail. They fought the one and done to tooth and nail, because it kills rivalries like Duke and North Carolina. Name the last time a Duke and North Carolina game was relevant in the last 4 years. You know what I'm saying? It killed their rivalries that they built that built their backs. You know what I'm saying? That made the NCAA what they are today. You know what I'm saying? Connecticut, UConn, and Georgetown. Name the last time those two teams were relevant when they played. But you go back to the 80s, early 90s, that was the game.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
As a matter of fact, the UConn got upset yesterday. Who upset UConn? I forgot. They got up on a.
I mean, UConn is what they lost 8 games, right? 7 or 8 games already.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they lost that many, but I know they got upset yesterday too. But yeah.
It's all about the tournament.
Mm-hmm.
It don't matter what you it don't matter what you do in the regular season. You get into the tournament, and then that's when they turn it on.
But see,
That's when
that's where they went wrong too. They cheated themselves because back in the day, Big East, ACC, we was glued all the way through. We was glued to the TV all the way through the season, and then
Right.
March Madness, that was just a cherry on the top.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? That was just a cherry on the top, and then that's
Now March Madness is the whole cake.
It's the
Mhm.
the all in, be all in.
Yep.
that's everything.
March
Yeah.
Madness is the whole cake.
So yeah, guys, go ahead, man.
I'm gonna say it's all about what conference gets the most teams in.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it's all about.
That's true too. Yeah. So I don't know about if we was able to come up with any solutions that we might be able to pass on to college or the NBA, but it's always an interesting topic because we seen both sides of it, you know what I mean? We seen it when it started, like Jim said, we seen it when it started back in 79, like how the ball got rolling, and now here we are
Mhm.
in 2025, and it just looks so much different. Yeah.
Hey, if I gotta say anything to the NBA, what they need to do is figure out their marketing strategy and go with it. You know what I'm saying?
I like the country versus country all-star approach.
Mm-hmm.
If they
Right.
adopt that, I think that you get some more interest back into the all-star game, and that's where you start.
I like that idea too. I think that right there just it brings like a sense of pride from like the Canadian players, the American players, the European players, the
Japanese players.
wherever you come from, you like, look, we can ball too, and then everybody, the French players. So yeah, I like that idea.
And now that the NBA, like I said, is a week-long thing now, have some of those international teams come over and play some international games.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Put them in front of the American audience. Televise it on ESPN. Play it in Vegas. Put it where everybody can see the up and coming stars and the futures of where you're going. Because the NBA is trying to be a global league and not just America.
Yep.
So if you're going to do that, you got to figure out a way to get that global talent and that global interest moving. So
all I can say is, so the NHL kind of ditched the whole all-star approach for this 4-team tournament, and one of the sites, and this is not an endorsement, it's just a site that I like to go to regularly to see what's happening in the NHL. It's called hockeyfights.com.
Yeah.
And when your so-called all-star replacement approach has the top 3 fights on hockeyfights.com, you got some passion going on.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Hey, I forgot they even fought in hockey.
Yeah.
I didn't see the good fight in hockey televised in a while. I forgot they even fought in hockey. And so, I watched the game yesterday, like, oh my God, they're going at it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Two of the cats for the Americans that fought in that first 9 seconds were brothers.
Right.
Oh, wow.
The Chukuk brothers. And yeah, I love hockey.
Yeah.
I love hockey highlights.
Hey, so let me ask you a question. Is the rule when they fight, is the first person to go down off the skates is the loser, right? You keep swinging until somebody goes down, right?
Yeah, there's there's a whole unspoken rule book about how the hockey fights are supposed to happen.
Mm-hmm.
And if 2 dudes drop the gloves, nobody else is supposed to get involved. It's just those 2 cats. And when And as long as you're throwing, the other guy throws.
Yeah.
If you stop throwing and you go down, everybody stops. There's some gentleman rules to it.
Okay.
It looks barbaric, but it's
Hey,
two
hey.
men. It's two men deciding. Let's do it.
Yeah.
Right?
Hey, you know what? The NBA need to adopt that. Two guys take off their jerseys, they automatically fight. You throw the jerseys on, we automatically going at it, yo.
Let them go until and so in hockey, it's kind of like you let them go, and the linemen and the refs jump in to protect somebody from really getting hurt, and that's it.
Okay.
You let them blow off. Let them go.
It's a beautiful thing, Mike. Hey, go back and watch the highlights. Everybody dropped the puck. Oh, they dropped the puck, and then the dudes just dropped their gloves and was like, "Let's go."
Yeah.
I was like, "They ain't gonna waste some time with it."
I did see the fights. I watched the fights. Yeah.
And it's when you see guys drop gloves like that, it's usually a hey, we need to go. Are you ready to go? And some guys say no, not yet. Right?
Oh, okay.
And it's always designated guys, right? It's the super skilled players typically don't do it.
So it's not Ovechkin. Ovechkin don't fight.
No.
Oh, okay.
Nope. He's got a guy that does his fighting for him.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yep. And when they and so like with 0.02 seconds off the clock, when those first two guys dropped the gloves, it was when they were getting ready to drop the puck, they looked at each other and said, "Hey, it's go time, right?" And both of them just said, "Yeah, let's soon as the puck drops, let's do this."
Yeah. So that's Jermaine said. You paying a guy $50 million a year, and then he get his jaw broke and you can't sell tickets.
Hey, Jermaine, I was just kidding, my friend. I was just kidding. I know they would never do that in the NBA, but you could tell, hey, Jermaine, you can't say you wouldn't watch it though. Can't say you wouldn't watch it now.
I mean, as long as they're not going up into the stands.
Yeah. They can't go up and
Hey, look how they played out though. Jesus. We didn't know who Melo P was until he did that dumb play.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we didn't know who he was.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Wow.
That always gets people's attention though, and I think it's not a big part of the sport as it like it used to be, but it's. I mean, there's definite advantages to doing it and getting your team riled up.
I'm gonna go check out one of those hockey games.
Yeah, though. It's like when the coach intentionally gets thrown out of a game and gets beat up.
Yeah,
he's doing it to get his or the manager comes out to home plate and says stuff to intentionally get him thrown out of the game. It's to get your team jacked up.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Well, hey, let me say this, because now that football is over and we get into the bottom end of basketball and everything, let's have our fans and our viewers put into the chat what we should chat about in the up and coming segments.
Yeah.
Because I would love to get some good stuff about boxing. As much as I hate boxing, I would love to talk about boxing and some other sports that we normally don't hit on when we do our sessions and everything. So, what would the fans like to hear us talk about and chime in with it?
Boxing.
Yeah.
But that's a good idea though, man.
Because hey, when you get to that March time and there's really nothing going on but baseball and WNBA, it's hard to get a lot of people interested in other things going on. So, if the fans have some things that we can talk about, they want to discuss with us, hey, jump in and let's discuss it.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah. So, fellas, I mean, another great show, man. The content I thought was good. The conversation, was great. So yeah, I appreciate Jermaine. Who was it? Time. I see you just tuned in, man. Time, where you been at? Let me see. Panama Queen was in here. Was at CF 71. Appreciate your input in chat. You know, everybody make sure to like and subscribe. But yeah, I think we're going to, now that football is over with, now we can start following the college basketball closer. You know, we're coming into March Madness, women's college basketball, men's college basketball, the NBA. I think, and we didn't even get to talk about Butler with Golden State. I think they look good now.
Yes,
that was a great move.
Yeah,
great move for Golden State. I think that was even better than putting LeBron on Golden State.
Yeah, I do too. I agree, because Butler is more of a two-way player. You know, he just got more in the tank right now than LeBron do. So yeah, I agree with you on that.
And remember, no one plays better in the playoffs than Jimmy fucking Butler. Jesus.
Yeah. And it fills gaps.
Yeah.
For
they're gonna need him by him being a little bit younger than you know what I mean, those other guys. So, or is he around the same age as Draymond and Steph?
Nah, he's younger than Draymond and Steph.
Oh, okay, yeah. So he got a little bit more in the tank. Yeah. Yeah, but yeah, man, I appreciate everybody tuned in. Yeah, what you say, man?
Let me ask you a question, Jim. Who's winning the NHL All-Star? You going with America?
Right now that they look like they're motivated, and Canada, for whatever reason, has yet to outright win a game. They won a game in overtime, and then they lost to US. So yeah, I think it's going to end up like it normally does, like in the Olympics. It's going to end up US Canada, and that's always kind of been a back and forth thing. It used to be super one-sided, and when Canada was like, you know, three-fourths of the league, now they're less than 50%.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I think US has come a long way in terms of the number of skilled players. So it always seems to come to be back and forth, and this year it looks like the US has got Canada's number.
Well, the championship game is what, Thursday night, right?
The 20th. Yeah, Thursday.
Okay. Well, all I can say about that is I hope I see Russia in next year.
Yeah.
Yes.
And Jim, let me ask you this though, Jim. Didn't Russia used to have a lot of players in the NHL though? Didn't they? At one point in time, there was a lot of Russian players in the NHL.
They still do. They
they couldn't play their country.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because, all right. Quick question before we get out of here. Jermaine says that y'all don't think that Butler and Draymond will knock heads. This is just a small sample size to judge. Yeah, you got two guys there. I don't think they really gonna bump heads though.
I don't think they're gonna bump heads because Jimmy Butler knows his role.
Yeah.
I think Jimmy Butler was so happy to get out of Miami and go to a situation where though he can be him. I don't think he's gonna cause any waves.
And I think sometimes when you get two dudes like that, I think they kind of stay out of each other's way because they know that, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of situation can go south real fast. You know what I mean? Like, you know, if you get two dudes like that don't mind mixing it up, two alphas, you know, they probably just, you know, and they both just trying to get to the playoffs anyway.
Right. I think they complement each other like they used to do, like when Patrick had Oakley on his side. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I think they complement each other. Because now Draymond doesn't have to work as hard on the boards because he has Jimmy working on the boards. Jimmy doesn't have to work hard on defense because he knows Draymond is sitting back there working just as hard as he does.
Right.
So I think it's a complementary type of situation where though both of them will bump heads with each other.
Yeah, and then usually when Draymond gets into it, he gets into it because you're not playing hard. And that's the same thing with Butler. Like, if you're not playing hard, they will call you out. And so I don't think it'll be a situation where Jimmy will have to call out Draymond or Draymond will have to call out Jimmy. So I don't think they're going to bump heads. I know Steph don't have nothing to worry about because he got two he got 2 enforcers in there, so Steph is good.
Yeah, but hey, have you seen stat? I mean, his stats for the last 2 games though.
Yeah.
Steph hasn't been Steph in the last 2 games though.
Hmm.
I mean, he hasn't been. I think one game he went 3 for 9 from the 3-point range.
Yeah.
So I mean, I think they're going to be the team that people going to fear going into the playoffs.
Yeah,
I think they're going to be the team that we don't want to play Golden State.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to see what they do. But yeah, man.
Cool,
everybody, I want everybody to please make sure to like and subscribe. We creeping up on 10,000. I think we got like 9,900, and I don't know. We probably like about 70 away from 10,000. So I appreciate that. Make sure to like and subscribe. Don't forget to leave a comment. So we'll be back next Saturday with our live show next Saturday. Yesterday I didn't have a cord, that's why I couldn't go live. But we'll be back live Saturday and Sunday of next week.
All right, gentlemen, I appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate y'all, man, for tuning in. Like I said, great content and great conversation. And I'll check y'all out next weekend. Make sure to everybody make sure to leave a comment too.
Yes. Tell us what we're gonna talk about next week.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. All right, fellas. I appreciate y'all. All right.
Later.
Later.